Sonal Mann Singh, who is one of India's most renowned dancers and a very well-known social activist, is here with us today. And she is, as all of you I'm sure know, has worked for many years as an activist on women, children, and issues related to the environment. And this is an issue that she feels quite passionate about. And she has agreed to just say a few remarks at the end here about her own wishes and thoughts on this topic. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Sonal.
Thank you. Thank you, Winnie, for giving me this opportunity to share some stories, not from today only, but from our great, varied past. People always wonder, because we have become so used to labeling, this is a social activist, this is a psychologist, this is an artist, that's an economist, educationist, scientists. And somehow I feel that we are all everything together, depending on our concerns and the phases in our lives. What I heard was really illuminating. What I loved was the human face, of course, because everything has a human face. And this is where I want to share with you just two things. The things that I dance, I've danced for 51 years on stage, professionally. And I have always loved the legends, the stories, the history, geography of India, understanding which I have gone to 90 countries in the world and have understood a lot about what? About life, which does not only say human beings, which also include birds and animals and kudrat jisko kehte hain, prakriti, nature. We in India have so many stories about women. We have this great dichotomy of worshipping woman as Shakti. I'm not going into that. We all know Navaratri, Devi, goddess, the great goddess, the creator. On the other hand, we also have stories like Meera, Draupadi, today's Meera, Panchakanya, so many stories. How I connect these through my programs, through my work, my productions is that if there are Panchakanyas, Ahalya, Draupadi, Kunti, Tara, Mandodari, what are their life stories? Don't they exist even today? Don't Draupadis exist even today? Are not women molested, dragged, insulted, raped, murdered, burnt on issues like property, settlement, marriage, love, running away, children, anything? Aren't women thrown out of the house by their children? Even today, I mean, that's what Winnie's Maitri, the Vrindavan widows, they're not just in Vrindavan, they're everywhere. Meera, the princess of Medta, married into the Chittor royal family. She was a Maharani of Chittor. And this is in the 16th century, when Akbar was ruling as the Mughal emperor. And she became a widow. And it's not the widows of Vrindavan today alone. Widows somehow had the stigma. And Meera also could not escape that stigma. And she was, of course, singing the praises of Krishna. We all have our own little beloved in our heart. I'm sure every woman has a little corner for some beloved, be it human, be it God, be it any name. And you are not allowed that space even in your life. So Meera was tried to be poisoned She was tortured in every way, psychological, physical, every way, emotional. And then she was asked to get out. And in that 16th century North India, Rajasthan, infested by dacoits, pindaris, thugs, all kinds of antisocial elements, this widow Meera walked out of the royal palace and Chittor and walked alone her own path. There are Meeras even today, there are Draupadis today, there are Ahalyas today, there are Mandodaris today. The man is much married. He also has extramarital affairs. He can be drunk. He can beat her up, as we heard everything. We all know, we read it every day, what is happening. What I say is that art can be a very fine and apt communicator. You all have presented case studies, you have given statistics. That is your job. My job is to pinpoint through art. When I presented Draupadi, my own solo dance theatre production in 1994, it was an eye-opener not only for me, but for the audiences everywhere. I think I presented that in about 15, 20, 25 cities of India and abroad. One very poignant moment when the Speaker of Lok Sabha, Speaker of Parliament, Shivraj Patil, invited me to present it to the members of Parliament. Out of the 500 odd at that time, about 300 had turned up. And some of my friends also were in the audience. Later on, of course, when he came to present flowers, he could not speak. There were tears in his eyes. My friends told me that the members of Parliament, most of them men, had been slinking deeper and deeper in their seats. And at certain points, certain moments in my presentation, my dance, they could not look up. They were all looking down. And my friends were all placed in different parts of the theatre. And the questions, very simple questions, that Draupadi has thrown at society at large, and those questions still are relevant and unanswered. What is dharma? What is niti? What is satya? 3 questions. And dharma is not religion. Dharma is ethics. Dharma is that which upholds creation, our daily lives, our thinking, our attitudes, our surroundings. Dharma is something that ennobles. She questions, what is dharma? Just before Dushasan then tries to strip her naked. She asks, what is niti? What are those ways by which society is ruled by ethical conduct? Niti. What is satya? What is truth? There are daily truths and there is a larger eternal truth. When we say Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. These 3 questions are very difficult to answer for anyone in any part of the country or world. But such questions have been asked again and again. And Speaker invited me to tea or dinner next day, and he repeated the same thing. And he said, Sonalji, a lot of my members of Parliament called me and said, in my constituency, things happen. Yes, we know it happens, but now I think I'm going to take a very good look at it. I'm going to try to do something about it. Whatever. Second is when I presented Aaj Ki Meera, I always try to juxtapose. Because as I say, these situations occur even today. You change the names, that's it. Aaj Ki Meera, where I first show Meera, Log kahe Meera bhai bhavri, saas kahe kulanashi re, जहर का प्याला राणा ने भेजा, पीवत मीरा हांसी रे. You know all that. And then I presented my other part of Aaj Ki Meera, how for Dahej, for dowry, or for all the reasons that you saw, the woman is tortured daily. Now, the torture does not only happen by men. Of course, we want men to be equally enlightened, educated, and empowered. So, therefore, tomorrow should also be International Day of Man, not just women. Anyway, who designated this? The men, I think, at the UN. International Day of Women. What about them? So, it's very poignant because the lyrics that I usually write my own lyrics in Hindi or Sanskrit, and the lyric is powerful. The pathos of the situation, the sorrow, the internalization of all womankind's dukkha. After that, would you believe it, at least 2-3 dozen women and young girls, young women, older women, they all came and met me. Each one had a story to tell. Same story. You have shown what we have gone through. Now, all I want to share with you is that do look at our performing arts as being a very, very important link in understanding and presenting and sharing and what do you call that? Awakening the conscience of society. Because sometimes, now I'm sorry to say, but the number of people you have today, if I was to dance now and if they knew, the hall would be full. The same stories, right? You agree? So the statistics should be also at such conferences, such seminars, such occasions, translated through performing arts and thus taken even further into the hearts and minds of people. वो टिकता है बहुत लंबे अरसे तक, है ना? ये गाना बजाना नहीं है. It's just not monkey dance movements, but everything that is done through the body, the instrument of body, which is given to everyone, which through the mind, through bhav, feelings, emotions, to pinpoint and portray these situations. And as I said, I always like to bring in the old because we know the stories, but we are unable to translate them into today. And then to say, it happened then, how did they come out of it? How did they go through it? Can we learn something from that also? So, thank you once again very much. I greet you all, and I want to bring you out of this grim atmosphere a little bit and wish you all very happy Holi tomorrow. It's a festival of colors. So at the end of the tunnel, there should always be a light, I hope, for many, many, many. Like for Rashida, a case study from HAQ. You know HAQ? The HAQ, the women's... and I've danced that also. This 14-year-old girl who was orphaned, who was adopted by the Masi Mausa. Mausa raped her, of course. By 14, she was pregnant. She was thrown out. She was lucky to have been picked up by HAQ. And she refused to be educated. She hung on to her little monkey of a baby. That was the only thing she owned, as she thought, possessed. And after a year or two, when she saw the other girls studying, she said, but I won't go there, I won't go to the school. She was lucky that they arranged for the teacher to come to her, and slowly she came out of that horrible shell, and today she's a police officer. So there are such case studies also, and I think all of us can put our minds together how, all of you are mahir, aap log mahir experts hain, main nahi hoon. But as I said, that I, in my own way, have also counseled and helped quite a few women and girls to do something worthwhile in their lives. I'm very happy to be here. I wish you all a great life in helping people, society to be beautiful. Thank you.